Let's talk with the busiest GM this summer in Ray Shero. He joins us on the phone right now. Ray, thanks so much for taking a few minutes for us. You've made a ton of moves and maybe the most improved team on paper this summer. It doesn't always play out like that, but are you happy with where your team is at as we stand right here in August?
If we were playing on paper, absolutely. Because you said on paper we look pretty good, but as we know, we had a lot of areas we needed to improve upon from last year, and certainly, in 17-18 it was a good season for us in terms of recapturing our fan base, which is fantastic, and making the playoffs. But last year took a step back, and but I believe with our ownership, Josh Harris and David Blitzer have been fantastic, and at the right time. I just finished my 4th year, and there's going to be a time, and we felt this summer that winning the lottery again with Jack Hughes, and certainly the ability to pick up a PK Subban and making the deal for Gusev and things like that. It segues into what we've done over the last few years, getting younger as a team, the assets and the draft picks, and some trades here and there, and also signing Wayne Simmons, who I've respected as a hockey player from afar. And unfortunately, when I was in Pittsburgh for 8 years, playing against him a lot, and certainly here in Jersey. But so those are some of the additions we had to make, and we like our team a lot better now than when we ended the season, but certainly a long way to go, and a lot of work to be done to get underway for training camp and get off to a good start.
Ray, when you took over as general manager of the New Jersey Devils, you preached patience. You said it was going to take some time, and you had to restock the shelves as far as draft picks and talent within, and it was kind of bare in the cupboards at times. Now all of a sudden it looks like there's some real good, talented, skilled young forwards, prospects in the organization, and then you make the splash this year. In the offseason, what was it that you felt this was the right time now, where you kind of had your pecking order along the way since your first year as general manager for the Devils?
Well, I think, it's a good way to put it. Lou Lamoriello was here for 28 years, and certainly it's hard to beat his record, 3 Stanley Cups in the Hall of Fame as a builder and still building. And but the level of success, when you are successful like that and you're trying to win, and you have to trade draft picks and so forth. And coming in here, I knew that, and Lou was really upfront about things and was very, very helpful for the 2.5 months that I was here with him, and before he went to Toronto. But I think what kind of told us is just the draft that we had between the 17 draft and the 19 draft, we had 22 draft picks, and in 16 I think we had nine picks. We had 11 picks this year, and some of these guys are even a Will Butcher who's picked the Devils. And a big part of us making the playoffs 2 years ago. Will had picked us as a free agent, and just I talked about two main assets to have in the league is cap space and certainty, and we were pretty certain we had cap space, so we covered both of them. And it was a time to especially with the Subban deal that came up, and you just have to be in that position to take advantage of that if you can. And from Josh and David's standpoint, they were certainly. They saw this opportunity no different than we did, and very supportive. And David Paul got ahead of it on his end, but it was just it just seemed that after 4 years we had been patient, and our fans have been patient too. But certainly with the amount of younger players we have, and some of these returning veterans, that the opportunity was there to take with the cap not being as high as most people thought, take advantage of a couple things here and there, and to try to improve our hockey team for the short term and long term.
Well, fans certainly patient, but they're chomping at the bit to see what Jack Hughes can do as a professional hockey player. 18 years old, drafted #1 overall. The expectations so high, just being in that slots. And from a fan's perspective, what are your reasonable expectations for Jack Hughes in his rookie season as general manager?
In terms of expectations of points or anything like that, I really don't have them. I never really go about it that way. My expectation is no different than how we drafted Jack Hughes, and be a competitive player, have a competitive camp, a really good team player. He certainly ups our skill level, and keeping in mind that our job is to also insulate him to a certain extent, no different than any young player coming at 18 years old and just turning 18. And but I think we saw that a couple of years ago here with Nico Hischier. All these great plans that you try to make at the summertime on paper, as you say, and with Nico coming in at 18 years old, and we felt that having signed Brian Boyle in that summer, and certainly with Travis Zajac, with Nico coming in, he'd be insulated, with those two veterans and maybe Zaka. But at the same time, of course, Travis Zajac goes about and he tears a pectoral muscle in the summertime, is out for 4 months, and Brian Boyle, as we all know, is well documented and a great ending, but was diagnosed with leukemia first day of training camp. So, you think about, you'd like to insulate these guys with matchups, and I think, we have that set up by some of the acquisitions we have, but, Nico didn't have that, even though we had planned it, and Nico certainly had a great season for himself his rookie year, and helped us become a playoff team, and helped, Taylor Hall have the MVP season. And but I think, it's one of those things with Jack, is not to put that sort of pressure on him. And we know hockey's the greatest team game, and it takes a team and not one player. And at 18 years old, he's a great kid from a good family that certainly wants to learn about the NHL. And, as he comes to training camp, he's a respectful kid. And but we got a good group of people here that can take care of him and let him grow into himself, whether it's short-term, long-term, or immediately, or if it takes some time, because it's a difficult schedule, a difficult league, and no different. He's a competitive kid that, has to make the team out of training camp, no different than he sure did, and I'm confident he can do that, but we'll see where it takes us. But certainly, where we were 4 years ago to now, a lot more younger talent that we certainly needed, and a step in the right direction.
But the guy I'm interested in, and certainly a lot of the Devils fans, is Nikita Gusev. Everybody's excited that you were able to trade for him, add him to the New Jersey Devils team, and sign him. Best player outside the National Hockey League for all intents and purposes, from what we hear. But what enticed you about Nikita Gusev, and why will he have success in the National Hockey League?
I think, certainly he was 26 years old this past year, just turned 27, but, Nikita's a player that has played internationally or for Russia, from the Olympics and World Championships, World Juniors. So a lot of people do know him in Tampa. It was original 7th-round pick by Tampa way back when, and was in the deal to Vegas and expansion. And so he's got a high skill level. He's a right shot, plays a left wing. He's a little like Claude Giroux in terms of, Claude Giroux is maybe not the fastest guy, maybe not this, but Claude Giroux can play the game, and he really thinks the game at a high level. And Giroux might be more of a natural center, but even though he's playing wing a bit, but with Gusev, it's just he thinks the game at a very high level. He's got really, really good hands, and certainly with anybody, when you say, well, it's unknown because people say an unknown because he hasn't played in the NHL before, but I think that's applicable to everybody that has never played the NHL before. You got to start somewhere, but he's had great success against some of the top players and on big ice surfaces, small ice surfaces. He came over after the St. Petersburg season was over last year to Vegas and spent time with them and didn't play in a game but practiced a lot. And, I think that acclimating himself and his wife to North America, I think that was really, really terrific. And I love the fact that, guys like Nikita that really want to come over and try the National Hockey League. And, and again, we have seen him play a lot, but at the same time, a number of our scouts, and especially over in Russia, know him very well. But I think the opportunity was worth taking, for a guy that, from the power play, special teams, 5-on-5, he's a difficult player in terms of his creativity and imagination, how he plays the game. So we're excited to see him. And, for us, it was a step on the left side, looking to add some skill there, and certainly no different, looking at a box on the right side is, to add a guy like Wayne Simmons. When we signed him, there's, a compliment to, to get the right type of players and to complement each other. And Gusev certainly for us has been on our radar for a while, but, again, because the cap space that we did have here in Vegas didn't, hopefully works out for both teams.
All right, so just one of those moves making a lot of noise, the New Jersey Devils this summer. But maybe the biggest move that made the biggest splash was NJ Devil. I got to get your official reaction to that. Your mascot running through the glass, and that certainly went viral, so to speak. What was your reaction when you saw that?
I'm like, do we have another mascot? That was terrific. I mean, I don't know. at first I was getting texts from all my buddies saying your mascot's injured or something. I'm like, oh.
I thought it was staged, Ray.
Oh, I thought it was. I mean, I don't think it was staged, but luckily no one was injured, let alone the children. But they had something to tell their parents when they went home, that's for sure. But we're just. I think the New Jersey Devil area is just trying to set the standard for what mascots should be doing. So I'm waiting to see what the rest of the mascots might do. But there'll be a hit at the All-Star game again. It's great.
Right? If anybody was going to do that, I thought it'd be Gritty. But no, NJ Devil making the biggest splash this summer. Ray, we've taken up way too much of your time. Appreciate that time. Enjoy what's left of your summer. And good luck this coming season.
Really appreciate it. Thanks so much, guys.